Hey you guys, I wanted to record a video talking about why you should read my favorite book, Vita Nostra by M S Dyachenko, translated from Russian by Julia Montefiore. Now, this is a very, very weird book. It's very, very Russian. It's really clear that it's Russian. But it absolutely blew my mind, and it's now my new favorite book, even more so than the Malazan series, which I never thought in a million years would happen. Now, to give kind of a dumbed down version, to give a super brief, almost dumbed down comparison summary, to give a very brief, almost dumbed down summary of the book, the quickest way to say this is a Russian post-Soviet anti-Harry Potter with fantastic writing. And to very briefly and almost dumbly summarize, this is a post-Soviet anti-Harry Potter with very ominous undertones, similar to books like House of Leaves or even H.P. Lovecraft, in that we get this very unknown eldritch kind of thing going on that's a little unsettling and spooky in a sense, but it's not a scary book, that's for sure. Now, the story is about our main character named Alexandra, Sasha, and she is on vacation with her mother by the seaside somewhere in Russia, and she notices this man following her, and he's just watching her at first, kind of strolling around behind her, but she keeps seeing him over and over again, and she gets a very creepy, ominous vibe from him. And eventually he approaches her and she says, "I want this to be a dream," and wakes up. This happens a number of times until eventually they do end up talking, and this man introduces himself as Vita Nostra, and he has a very strange task for Sasha that she doesn't really want to do, but she finds herself doing. And that task is to wake up every day for the rest of the week at 4 a.m., go down to the beach, strip naked, get in the ocean and swim out to a buoy, and then swim back and just return to bed. And so Sasha finds herself coerced into doing this, and when she arrives back on shore, she vomits up a pile of gold coins. And that's all that I really want to tell you about the story for now, because you should really go into this book pretty blind. I think that's the real joy of the story, is that the experience of the reader very closely matches Sasha's experience going through this whole process. And that's one of the things that I love about books. It's like the reason that I love the Poppy War is we are just like these naive kids at school, and then all of a sudden, bam, there's war, and the tone completely pulls a 180 and shifts. And Vita Nostra does a very similar thing in that everything that Sasha's going through, the reader kind of experiences its own version of it in turn. And what I love is, fucking hell. What I love so much about this book is I feel like this book is for absolutely everybody. Well, maybe it's not for absolutely everybody, but this is a book that I think no matter who you are, you will get something out of it, because the meaning of this book is completely different based on who you ask. And I get that reading is a subjective experience, and that's kind of the way with all books, but if you ask somebody about Vita Nostra, you'll get such wildly different answers that I feel like this book is a chimera that just kind of suits itself to the reader. I feel like the reader can project their own experiences onto the text and really find something that speaks specifically to them that's really poignant and just really special and important. And that's the reason that I urge so many people to read this book. I'm always talking about it, I never stop. So I've heard people say this is a book about coming of age, of growing up, losing relationship with your parents. This is a critique of Russian academia. This is about the feeling of finally understanding something in higher learning. This is a story about coercion and fear and love, and just, I've heard so many different theories about this book, about what the ending means. The book is just fantastic, and I think everyone needs to read it. If you have read it already, or if after you're done reading it you need something else to read, the Dyachenkos have one other book available in English, which makes me so sad because they're some of my new favorite authors. They have 28 books out in Russian, and so many of them are award winners, and only 2 of them are available in English. So I am waiting for the next of their books to be translated. But I would recommend The Scar by them too, if you want to check that out. It's like a sword and sorcery story, but it has similar themes as Vita Nostra, and that the story is about the transformation of the main character. So if you like that about Vita Nostra, be sure to check out The Scar too. And if you pick either of them up, just please let me know, because I love hearing that people have read this book. I would also urge you to maybe check out a couple other reviews on YouTube, because this book hasn't been read enough, and I want people's videos to be recommended so that more people can hear about this book. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed.